What's going on, everybody? We are back. It is me, SoCal Honey Badger, along with my mans.
What's up, everybody? It's Ryan Stone.
And we are going to break down Double or Nothing, the recent, or Double or Nothing 2022. I should probably make sure to,
Yeah.
if somebody listens to this shit in a year, they'll be like, oh, wow, they're not talking about the Double or Nothing I just saw, right? 2022, it just happened like yesterday or some shit. No,
2 days
Sunday.
ago.
2 days ago, right? Double or Nothing All Elite pay per view in Las Vegas, and me and Ryan Stone went to it. So we're gonna break down and give you our perspectives of the pay per view from the point of view of someone that was there.
There we go. All right. Let's start it off. Pre-show match. Hook and Danhausen defeated Tony Nese and Mark Sterling.
I fucking loved it. As a crowd opener, you usually want either a really high impact, fast paced, like work rate match with cool spots, or a comedy act. You want to get the people really, like the people that are there already seated, you want them hyped. And the people that are getting to their seats, you want them to sit down into the hype. So
Right.
I think as an opener, that was exciting and fun to watch. It worked perfectly. I still am not sold on Danhausen yet. I mean, he really didn't do a whole lot. I know he's coming back.
He
from
took the
injury.
heat. He took a beating, and that's really all he did during this match. I don't recall a single offensive move he did.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I've ever seen a match of Danhausen's. I've only ever seen promos.
Oh wow. Yeah, I haven't seen any of his work in Ring of Honor. But I know that he's an animal. So I'm gonna hold out hope that that's what that is true. But we
Right.
didn't really. I didn't see anything that led me to believe that the hype around Danhausen was more than meme hype. Like with Orange
Right.
Cassidy, he's not a meme act. Like dude can
No.
go. Right? He's
Yeah.
got the memes and the jokes, but he can also put it down and deliver an exciting, realistic fight. And I was under the impression that Danhausen was that, but with a fucking Eddie Munster gimmick. And
That's pretty much.
so far, I haven't seen that. Hook was as excellent as always. I will say the standout.
Just as
for
I
me-
expected.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will say the standout for me was Tony Nese and Mark Sterling. They're working this match. I really love this dynamic, and I hope this team goes further.
I think this is where Mark Sterling is a little bit better than with Jade Cargill. I think this is a better match for Mark Sterling.
Because he can bump and he can work. So, like,
Right.
you have him with the girl, and he can't do that.
He
because-
can't interfere. Like he
Yeah.
could barely interfere. He could hop on the apron, but he can't get physical with him without somebody getting pissy about it.
Yeah, whereas with Tony Nese, we can have. It reminds me of Bobby
Absolutely.
Heenan. Remember how Bobby Heenan was
Yes.
a manager that occasionally would get forced into a match because of a stipulation? Or Sonny Ono from WCW. You know how, like, they were trained workers, but like they were really more of a manager than a wrestler, but they
Right.
could give us a match. And I think as far as a throwback to the old Bobby Heenan work, I think this match really nailed that feel for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And quick note on Bobby Heenan. I was on Reddit this afternoon, and there was a thread about right before Bobby went to WWF, he actually did like a main event run in Japan, wrestling
Wow.
Jumbo Tsuruta and Tenru.
Really?
Yeah.
Because at that point he was too hurt to work, so it's kind of crazy he went to Japan to do a main event run when his back
God,
was
but
at
this
its
was
worst.
like 80 something, 84, 85 maybe. I forget when Bobby went to WWF, but yeah. Anyway, all right. I enjoyed the match. I thought it was good. You were right. It nailed everything. That's the type of starting match you need. You need an overact that is going to have a fun match. That match went 5 minutes, 20 seconds. It was a perfect spot for a pre-show match. All right. Start of the show.
Oh god.
This is the official first match of Double or Nothing. Wardlow defeats MJF in 7 minutes and 30 seconds.
with 10 power bombs and a squash.
10 power bombs. You know, even
MJF,
so during
it
the
has
match,
to be clear that MJF got no offense.
zero. Everything he tried to go for got thwarted. When he pulls out the ring, you know, Wardlow knew exactly what was going to happen. I thought it was very well done, but had the controversy around MJF happened, not have happened this past weekend, would this match have been different? Maybe not in terms of who won, but in length and the context of the match, or the contents of the match.
This is the loaded bomb, because we could do an entire
Right.
podcast on just this match alone.
Holy shit, yes.
The implication is that MJF is having problems with AEW and things are not good, and he is not happy with them and they are not happy with him. And so it's implied that MJF was squashed in this match to kind of cool him off while he's renegotiating his contract. But
not a bad idea if that's the case.
But the thing is, I just smells of work, dude. Like, if it's on TV, it's a work. I feel like that AEW's big thing is they wanted to bring a real sports feel back to wrestling, right? And part of real sports, I mean, Tony Khan owns an actual NFL and a football team, okay?
Right.
And part of that is the contract negotiations. That's
Sure.
a lot of the drama in real sports, and they want to bring that to AEW. And so I see this as an embellishment that everybody is in on. Like, yes, we know that MJF's contract is allegedly up in 2024. So we know he's not going anywhere for 2 years. Okay, so why are they making
18 months, January 1st, 2024.
Okay, but even still, like, this is a long time out. Why are we making this a big deal right now? I feel like this is a work.
So, all right. So I read a little bit more information on it today. I want to say this came from Wade Keller, and some of the information was when MJF got signed, he was signed to a starter contract, rumored to be worth around $40,000 to $70,000 per year, and that was his biggest gripe, is that he is consistently one of the highest rated segments on the show. He is over beyond belief. He is no longer in a starter position. He's headlined big events,
Yeah, but that makes a lot of sense.
And he was expecting a raise. Rumor is, on January 1st of this year, he got that raise. And he's making in the hundreds of thousands now. But it's not where he thinks he should be. He probably wants to be one of the top paid guys in the company, maybe at a Hangman level or Bucks or Kenny level of money, or maybe even towards, I don't think he should be making more than a Punk and a Bryan. While yes, MJF is highly rated, he's not there yet. He'll get there, but he's not there yet.
This makes a lot of sense, though. Hold that thought. That thought, because one thing we got to note is we were actually there at Double or Nothing, and I can confirm there was no MJF merch for sale.
None. Absolutely none.
We looked. That's my wife's favorite wrestler, and she wanted that scarf. And I was going to go through hell to get it, and they did not have none. And this makes... Go ahead. Oh, I was say, this makes sense, because if MJF was making $40,000 a year and then he got a raise to $100,000 a year, and he's saying, "Dude, I should be getting more," for a fact they get a cut of merch. And if he's trying to say, "I'm not being paid what I'm worth," Tony Khan pulling merch from the tables to say, "Oh, okay, we don't pay you what you're worth. How about we remove the merch and you see exactly how much your minimums actually are?"
Now, here's another thing, though. Go back and remember what was at the merch table. It wasn't a ton of stuff. You had a couple Double or Nothing shirts, a couple of AEW shirts, a Blackpool Combat Club, an Owen, and I think like an AEW hoodie, and then the rest were like turnbuckles, signed posters, hat, things like that. It wasn't like they had like 30 different shirts available. It was like 9.
Well, I think supply chain issues.
Like, think about it. I didn't even see and they had a Punk shirt. I didn't see a Hangman Adam Page shirt.
Yeah, they didn't.
I didn't see Jurassic Express. I didn't even see Jericho.
That was one I was looking for. I want that fucking Wizard shirt.
Right? So, and when I went to All Out, it was a lot of the same thing. Like one Punk shirt, a couple All Out shirts. It was like 2 to maybe 3 wrestlers worth of shirts, and then the rest was all event and AEW stuff, and then other types of collectibles like toys and whatnot. But so I can't base it completely on, and I'm pretty sure MJF had a shirt when I went to All Out. But like, we can't base it on that, but there was nothing. And during the match, my wife even leaned over to me and she said, something feels off here. Max didn't have the energy, is what she said. He wasn't going. It was a guy going through the motions, is how she explained it later on to me. And we watched that match back last night on a replay. She wasn't wrong. Dude, it was lacking energy. I don't want to say he had boo-boo face, but it was a bit odd. But getting back to his contract stuff. So apparently, it's not like he's only at $100,000 now. The report said hundreds of thousands. So he could be maybe 2, 3. I don't know.
Could be 9.
Could be 9, and he wants $1 million.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Know. All
but
knows what happened.
That was one of the things that really said that he wasn't a fan of, was that he got the raise, but he didn't get what he wanted. And then he had done some interview with Ariel Helwani, who normally does MMA stuff, but he interviewed Max. And while they didn't really have a problem with the interview, he never cleared it through AEW. So they were like, yeah, we had to at least say something to him. And when Tony, I guess, talked to him about it, and apparently Tony, the rumor was Tony wasn't upset. It was just, hey, listen, we would have told you yes had you walked it through with us, but you didn't. So we're telling you next time, walk it through with us. And then Max apparently went right into how he's disappointed in his contract about what he got. Because this interview was like February, March-ish, I want to say. And that's apparently when all that went down. And then apparently the relationship between Tony and MJF just totally frayed after that.
Here's the deal, dude. This is an industry built on lies. The only people that know what Tony and MJF discussed in that room are Tony and MJF. And I wouldn't put it past them to work us.
Oh, no, I wouldn't either. Now, I would find it hard for them to work the entire roster, That is, to me, is kind of shitty, to work your own boys.
Yeah, but AEW is.
I'm not saying that they got to tell them everything.
The roster
but they,
knows.
Need to know basis.
Dude, bullshit. They kept Brody Lee's death a secret for like 6 months.
But the people knew.
Yeah, but
that's how good that roster was. It never leaked. They knew.
That's what I'm saying.
They knew what was wrong with Brody.
No, what if they know? We didn't know. We, the viewers, the fans, the marks, we didn't know until they said something. Maybe Britt Baker knows what's going on with MJF, but she ain't saying something, and that's why I'm saying that company kept Brody Lee's death a secret for 6 months. Dude, don't even think that they couldn't pull this shit off.
Well, it wasn't his death. It was his illness that they hid for about 6 weeks. But yes, I would think if there's any group of a roster that could pull off working everybody, it's this roster, because a lot of leaks don't come out. And what is coming out is little bits of information that people are piecing together into a story. And they're kind of creating a timeline of about things that did actually come out that are like, wait a minute, what's going on? Again, I like the idea of bringing it into the limelight, talking about contracts. I think it's a cool business side of wrestling. Like I mentioned to you, maybe almost like the Austin Vince angle, but I don't want Tony to be the actual Vince in that angle of getting in the ring and being a character on TV. More of like, you're still behind the scenes. People know you run it, so I could talk about my contract and people know I'm talking about you. And like, that's the type of stuff I wouldn't be against, and like what they've done so far. So he might have gotten all the raise he wanted, and they're doing all this as a work. Another thing that came out was he really wasn't in, I guess the words they used was the right frame of mind for the meet and greet on Saturday that they canceled. Take that. I don't know what that means. It could, he was drunk, he was whatever, or that they just had no intention on fulfilling that meet and greet. Who knows?
See, the meet and greet is the thing that makes this feel real. Because, if this is a work, that's a bad idea.
You don't fuck over fans like that. And, I don't think you're going to lose a fan over what happened if it comes out it's a work. But it's just not good PR. Hey, we sold you something. Yeah, we refunded it, but we had no intention of ever really delivering on that purchase.
Yeah.
That's kind of shitty. you know?
That, and so that's the thing, and that's the thing that really bothers my wife, because again, that's her favorite wrestler. We came out
Right.
to see that, and she was
Yeah, I know.
really, really disappointed in the match and just the whole experience with that. And it made her kind of sour on MJF. She's like, if this shit is real, she's like, we drove like 4 hours to watch this show and spent all this money just specifically to see MJF.
Right.
And for her, MJF and Sting were like the two.
Oh,
by
dude,
proxy,
and Sting got
Darby
canceled
Allin.
out Friday.
Yeah.
Damn.
So Sting getting hurt makes sense, and that's not a big deal. That shit happens. We understand. But MJF is different because he like walked out, right? And
Right.
like again, I mean, you and me, we know the business. It's like whatever. We don't take it personal. But she's still a fan,
Sure.
right? This is all new to her. This was her first show seeing her favorite wrestler, and then she finds out that he said, "Nah, fuck that. I don't want to fucking talk to the fans." And then I'm not even going to show up to the match. And then when we get there, he actually did show up, and then he put on like a squash match. And she was like all excited when he did show up. She was like, "See, I fucking knew he wasn't going to fucking bail." And then he just took 10 power bombs and got stretchered out. And she was like, "That was it? Like he didn't try to cheat, or he didn't even try to
Well,
get
he tried
one
to. They
move?"
caught him.
But she was saying,
Yeah.
like, he didn't get one single move in, like
Nope.
nothing, no offense. And so she was like, this is kind of bullshit. This is kind of bullshit. And it made her believe that the thing about MJF really being a prick and walking out, it made her believe in that. And it made her not really want to be a fan of MJF. And I guess that's fine if you want heel heat like the old school day. But like literally, we were there to buy MJF merch.
Right.
So that's money
Yeah.
out of his pocket that weekend. If
Dude.
that's the case.
Right? Like that's the thing that kind of blows my mind is I'm always for you got to do business the right way. And yes, he showed up. Maybe there was absolutely no intention of missing the match, no intention on putting over Wardlow, and all of that. Because in my opinion, Wardlow had to win, because if he lost, Wardlow was just gone from AEW, period.
Yeah.
And I was like, in my head, I'm like, that no fucking way that's happening.
Yeah, that.
So I knew Wardlow was win, but I just didn't know how the match would go down. And I'm like, God, I don't know, man. I would think that MJF would have more respect for, especially the guy he's about to put over in the biggest match of his career. You know, like, you got to do business the right way. And that's the only thing. I'm like, dude, if he's bailing on them on this shit, like, dude, just tell them up front, don't schedule me for meet and greets. I'm not gonna go. Don't schedule me for media. I'm not gonna do it.
The thing
I'll
is,
be on TV.
though,
I'll do the TV. I'll do this, but until we get this worked out, I'm not doing anything extra. That is the right way to do business, in my opinion.
But that's
you
what
know?
he did,
And-
though, and that's what makes.
But
me
it
think
doesn't
that-
sound like it. It's sounding like he's pissed about his contract. And if he's not telling them, hey, I'm not going to do your meet and greets, and they're still scheduling them, yes, 100% on AEW. But if he's not telling them that, and they're like, hey, guys, everyone's going to do a meet and greet, here's the times, and he just goes, yeah, fuck that, and bails, that's shitty to do, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty shitty. Again, yes, you're a heel. Yes, you are a very old school heel where you want people to believe that through and through, that even as a real person, you're a heel. I get it. I understand it, but there's certain things you don't do in this day and age. If that's what he was trying to portray, then he shouldn't be doing meet and greets, period.
Yeah. And
At all. Like, I'm fine with him doing how he does on social media, but then don't do meet and greets. I get that's part of the company, but if that's the character you want, talk to the company. Hey, I don't want to do that. It's going to make people think they're accessible. And I think it's cool how he'll flip people off during the pictures and the photo ops and shit. So he still tries to stay true, but there's a right and a wrong way to do business. The right way was showing up, and I think the wrong way is just.
But that's the thing is he did show up and do business, and for the most part, he made Wardlow look like a monster.
Sure.
So
yes.
if he is mad at AEW and was trying to throw a fit to make a statement to AEW, I do have to say that at least he did the right thing by the business. He showed up, he did business, and Wardlow looked like fucking Goldberg.
It's the one thing I wish Sasha and Naomi should have done. I understand you're pissed. Tell them, don't put me over, put me under, put this, pick whoever else you want. But after this, I'm out.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what should have been done in that situation. And the MJF did the right thing in this situation.
Yeah.
Again, you're pissing off fans though, man. It's tough.
Right. Let's move along because, like I
Yeah.
said, we'll be
All right.
on that one all day.
Well, yeah, we could do a whole podcast on just that. All right, next one. The Hardys versus defeated the Bucks in 19 minutes and 15 seconds. I haven't seen every match of between those two teams, but this one was a lot of fun. It was exactly what I would have expected out of a Hardys and Bucks match. I guess Jeff was a lot more banged up. I haven't fully watched this match back yet, but to me, and you tell me what you think, he didn't seem like he was out of it at the show.
So watching the match, I remember mentioning to you during the match, I was like, dude, I think Jeff got hurt because he fucked up. I think he fucked up a I want to say a Phoenix Splash, but you know what I'm talking about. The Twist of Fate, I think, is what he calls it.
No, the Whisper in the Wind.
Whisper
the
in the
little
Wind.
backflip, twisty backflip
Corkscrew
thingy.
senton.
Yeah.
That's it. Corkscrew senton. He
He
botched
did.
that, and it looked like his boot was undone. And he had botched something. He had botched something before that, and I told you, I was like, dude, I think Jeff got hurt. He fucked something up, and then he went up for that spot, and he fucked that up. But then I noticed his boot, and I was like, oh, maybe he's not hurt. Maybe his boot was fucked up, and that's why he fucked that up. But the response I'm seeing online is that a lot of people now, I haven't watched the actual show, like the TV, the pay-per-view with the commentary.
Right.
Like I just saw it live. So I don't know how that looked, like the camera angles. Maybe they saw something I didn't. From the show, Jeff looked really, really bad at first.
Okay.
And then he took a lot of rest spots, and he was tagged out for the majority. And then at the end, he was on fire. So I don't know.
He
if
looked
that was
normal at the
adrenaline.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That end spot, I mean, they fucked up. He tried to do like a springboard to the outside, and then they super kicked him to punish or counter it. And he fucked that up, and he took a pretty nasty fucking fall on that. It looked pretty ugly from where we were sitting. But I don't know. Maybe the camera saw something differently. I think that Jeff didn't get really hurt. I think he was just selling the match. Because otherwise, it looked like a regular Jeff Hardy match, man.
Sure. Rumor is he's banged up pretty bad, and it came from that match with Darby. So that was rough, dude.
And so
that was like what, a week ago?
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't too long. It was 2 weeks ago. Dynamite. Yeah, dude. I don't know. Or maybe it was Rampage. I forget, one of the two.
I mean, if they got to pull him to recover from that, like, dude, that's one of those dream matches that they signed him to AEW for.
Right. And my wife was actually pissed at the Hardys one. She wanted the Bucks to win, but I was like, you know what? The Bucks won the last one that they did at Ring of Honor when in Orlando or wherever they were when Hardys came back the next day at Mania.
Well, I
said,
like...
you know. But I said I could see that if that was the going away match, but it's not. This is going to happen more. So I was cool with the finish. I'm actually stoked the Hardys won because honestly I thought the Bucks were going to, so I'm stoked the Hardys won.
So I figured the Hardys were going to go over because of all the hoopla being made about this being the Hardys' last run, and they were going to make a play for the AEW titles. I don't know if they'll put the belts on the Hardys, but to do one last top contender run, they need to look strong to do that. And what better way than to beat former champions?
Okay.
So
no, it was a fun match. I enjoyed the match.
Yeah, so a lot of people were down on this match because I think people expected like you, the Bucks to win, and like especially with AEW, people are always expecting the Bucks to win because it means more Bucks and maybe the Bucks in the tag titles again. Like AEW fans are fanboys for the Bucks. I get it.
Sure.
But also a lot of people kind of expected Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy from like 2002. And,
you ain't gonna get that.
That ain't happening. I'm like, dude, when people were saying that this match was slow and it wasn't what they were hoping for with the
Hardys are 20 years older.
And I'm like, dude, have you seen, like, dude, even if you're not a WWE fan and you didn't watch Monday Night Raw 2 months ago when Jeff Hardy was on it, like, even if you've only watched AEW, have you not seen Matt Hardy's work for the past 2 years? Like, he doesn't do that shit anymore. He hasn't done that.
He doesn't even do the leg drop anymore. Have you noticed that Matt doesn't do that middle rope or top rope leg drop anymore?
I don't blame
He stopped
him.
years ago. He's probably stopped a decade or dozen years ago.
I don't blame him. Fuck that spot.
Dude, but you got to look at Jeff and Matt. Dude, those guys are in their mid 40s now. Like maybe more, maybe closer to 50. Dude, Like they can't be doing that anymore. And the Bucks have been doing this for a long time at a very high pace, doing the crazier, doing as crazy shit as the Hardys. Imagine how the Hardys felt when they turned 30. That's where the Bucks are at.
Well, I think this
You
match.
know,
I think
like I thought it was fine. I thought the match was great. Not every match is going to be a spot fest, go balls out. But the match was perfect for its placement on the card.
that's exactly, well, not only that, but I think the intentions, a lot of people went in expecting a spot fest, but I went in expecting it more to be a story match, because the
Yes,
Hardys and the
absolutely.
Bucks have a deep history. Like, I guess if
Yes.
you've only just now found out about the Bucks because of AEW, and you're new to AEW because of CM Punk brought you back to wrestling, but the Bucks and the Hardys have a fucking history. Okay,
Absolutely.
like that was not a one-off match. If you've only been
Nope.
following them on AEW, yeah, it seems like a random one-off match, but AEW considers everything canon. So if you're a wrestling fan and you've been following this, you know the Hardys and the Bucks have a history, and this was another chapter in that history. And if you're a fan of that rivalry, as a fan of that rivalry, I was definitely satisfied with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It was a match for the story fans of the Young Bucks versus the Hardys.
Yes. It was a great story. It was a great match. Dude, I enjoyed it. Uh, it it was fun. It
Yeah.
was fun. I didn't have a problem with it. Again, I had no issue with whoever won.
Yeah.
You know,
Me either.
dude. Yeah, they so Young Bucks and Hardys first wrestled against each other on August 8th, 2014.
We're looking at almost 10 years ago now.
Yeah,
Dude, they'll have
So-
an anniversary rematch on MJF's contract signing day.
there you go. All right, next one out now. So I went and got merch after this, and I missed the next two matches. So I'll let you talk about this next one. It was Jade Cargill defeated Anna Jay to retain the TBS championship in 7 minutes and 25 seconds. I know what happens afterwards. I did get to see that part on the TV screen out in the merch lines. But yeah, what did you think of this one?
Okay, so the finish was the baddie section. Hogan and Red Velvet came out and they started.
Yep.
All three of them were jumping the baby faces. Chris Statlander comes out. The numbers are not in the baby faces, in their direction. And then out comes Ember Moon to make the save, and she comes out with her
Athena.
fallen goddess. Yeah, a fallen goddess Athena gimmick that she ran in the Indies, and I believe she used the same song that she did back then too.
I don't know.
I'm
I
not
don't know.
quite sure. I'm not as familiar with her work on the Indies. I know her as Ember
Neither
Moon.
was I.
She's amazing, so I'm glad that she's there. I do know that the problem she had in the WWE was that she was injury prone. I think working the lighter AEW schedule is going to be better for what she likes to
Sure.
do, because she's kind of like a female Jeff Hardy. We just talked about Jeff
A little
Hardy
bit.
and Ember
Dude,
Moon.
that finish
is-
of hers,
yeah, fuck.
that's going to mess her back up and her hips in the
But
future. Yeah.
God, does that thing look so good? Ember Moon, I love
It
you,
does.
baby. I love you. You are great. Just try to stay healthy. I was excited. I popped. I marked out like a bitch.
Nice.
When Ember Moon came out, and my wife was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Babe, it's fucking Ember Moon," and she was like, "Oh fuck yeah," because she actually knew who Ember Moon was, and she
Nice.
actually liked her. So she was like, "What? Ember Moon's here? Fuck yeah!" And I was like, "Yeah." So that was exciting. But as far as the match goes, the match was better than I expected. We basically have two green workers. There was a lot of botching. It wasn't the prettiest match, but it was not a pay-per-view quality match. But I feel it was better than I expected. Considering it was Jade and Anna Jay on a big stage. So, I mean, let's take away the fact that they're a little greener. They have, a couple of years, among them. But, just
Sure.
being on pay-per-view and having that pressure and those nerves, I knew
Oh,
that those two, they don't do a lot of pay-per-views, so I knew that was going to be a factor. They'd be nervous. They'd be a little shaky. There'd probably be a couple of fucked up spots. But I think with considering all of what they had on their shoulders, I liked the match. I felt like it delivered. It was just not as pretty, but I didn't expect it to be pretty. I expected them to be worse than they were.
and it only went 7.5 minutes. So it sounds like, when you got two green people and they're trying to lead each other, I mean, you don't give him 30.
Well, and you could tell there were timing issues on somebody not
Sure.
leading, because there were a lot of like missed spots. I think Anna Jay is the veteran of the two, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Um,
because I think Jade started what back in early 21, and I think Anna Jay started like 19 or 20. Yeah.
so, but that's the problem. Is usually the heel leads, but when your veteran is the baby face, that's when things get goofy. And so I kind of saw a
It's
lot
weird.
of timing issues between
They
them.
probably had a lot of help from the producers or the coaches that they've got.
Well, it felt
Um,
like the ref was pulling, carrying the match. Because
and
I,
you know what? He probably was relaying information. I don't know who the referee was, but he was probably relaying, or she, relaying good info and making sure that they're hitting their spots and their timing. Um, but yeah, I told you this there. I'm not. I like Jade Cargill. I think she's going to be a massive star, and I think she's going to be very, very good. It's not there yet, and I think, and maybe it's just me, and my wife feels the same way, and it has nothing to do with Jade and like the person or even her skills. I don't know that whole "I'm that bitch." I don't know,
see,
not my
and
thing,
we're the
and I'm sure a lot of
opposite.
people do, and that's great. That's great. That's cool. That's just not my thing because I my wife put it in a good way. She goes, "She'll eventually become that bitch. She's just not yet." And maybe that's why that's the heel and that's how it works. But that's how she feels, and I'm kind of with her. I'm not a fan of that bitch stuff, but I think she's going to be phenomenal as the years go
See, we're at the opposite. She's like a favorite in our household. First of all, as far
on.
as women's wrestling goes, my wife doesn't really care for most of the women's
Same,
wrestling, but
same with my wife.
but she is glued to the TV when Jade is on the screen. Jade is
Awesome.
her favorite, and Jade connects with the audience like that. Like my wife doesn't, she don't know shit. Like she's a mark, right? Or like
Right.
she's a little bit of a
I know.
step up from a mark because she's married to me, but
Right.
like she's not watching the match judging the work rate. She's not sitting there
Right.
saying, "Oh man, she fucked up that bump." When it's an obvious botch that any random person is going to catch. Yeah, she catches that shit. But like she
Yeah.
likes Jade because she loves the character, she loves her style,
Okay.
loves her outfits, loves her move set. She likes, that there's a big, and it's funny because touching back on the MJF matchup, and this is not on
Yeah.
MJF, but she really didn't like it because Wardlow just destroyed MJF, and she's like, "Well, I don't get why people like Wardlow. If he's just I don't see the appeal
Dude.
of the Goldberg thing." And I'm trying to explain the male fantasy, the power fantasy. I'm like, Wardlow is the male power fantasy, the big strong guy that nobody could beat. And then it just dawned on me. I'm like, babe, you don't like Wardlow, but you're the biggest fan of Jade, who is the female Wardlow.
Basically.
So, but the thing is, Jade, so that's the magic of Jade, is she's taken a style that my wife, who is a casual observer, does not. She's voiced that she does not like that style, and yet she's still a fan of Jade who does that style. So I think that there should be something of note with Jade as it relates to that.
Interesting.
And her ability to connect with the audience. Because like I said,
Oh,
my
I don't
wife
think she's not over. She's absolutely over. I'm just not all in on Jade yet. And that's just me. That's why I
yeah,
was like, hey, it's cool that she's over. It's cool that people dig it. Maybe I'm too old for it. I don't know.
well, I think they shouldn't be putting her on pay-per-view with Anna Jay. She can make
she
one
needed she
magic.
needed a veteran to lead her through a
Yeah,
pay-per-view
put
match.
her in there with Sheeta, Thunder Rosa, any of the like
Ooh,
veteran baby faces, and she's
sure.
proven that she can deliver matches. She's worked with Sheeta; it was excellent. She
Sure.
worked with Thunder
Yeah.
Rosa; that was her best
She
match
can
she's
listen.
ever had. So
I thought so too.
Jade can work if she's led properly. But Anna Jay, like I said, she's not that much more experienced than
No.
Jade. I think
No.
it was just that AEW is listening to the complaints. People are saying they want to see more of the women, and they were just
Right.
trying to give them more time to give the fans what they want. But
I
as
agree with
much
it
as
too.
I enjoyed the match, because I admit I was a little easier on the match than your average person would be. My wife, who is a casual observer, she enjoyed it because she just loves Jade.
Ooh,
So yeah, all in all, I don't have anything negative to say other than like the obvious. Like, listen, like you fucked up
it was
that
green
spot.
versus green.
You fucked up that spot. You know what you did wrong. Fix
Yeah.
that. Tighten it up. Come back to me later.
Cool. All right, man. Next one. This is another one I missed, and I'm pissed I missed this match. House of Black, Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King defeated the Death Triangle, Pac, Penta Oscuro, and Ray Phoenix by pinfall in 15 minutes and 35 seconds. I missed this. I have gone back and watched it. My wife has said this was her favorite match of the show, and she is so mad that she missed it because we were in the merch line.
Dude, it was match of the night. Oh my
Damn.
god. Dude, from entrance. So what's really cool is the House of Black, they had a cool little glow in the dark graphic on the back of their jackets. So that when the lights went out during their entrance, only us who were facing the hard cam got to see it. And so there was a cool design back there that you could see, you know, when the lights go out and they go and take position in the ring and climb on the ropes, there was like cool shit on their jackets that you could look at. That glowed in the dark, but only us in the audience would see it. So that was really fucking cool. That entrance is
cool.
just as dope to see in person. If you're a fan of the House of Black, dude, if you're a fan of the House of Black, nothing is more dope than seeing those three come out. And then when the lights come out, they stay in character so obviously when the lights go out, you can see them climbing the ropes and all that.
Sure.
But they do it in character. They don't like run in and like they still keep their walk. Like they're still playing to the live audience, even though the people on TV can't see it. They're playing to us. And I fucking love that. As a fan of wrestling as a live art, I love that they fucking played to the audience and they had little shit like that. Malachi Black, if you're listening to that, because I know he makes a big deal about his outfits to like have little things that if you're paying attention, and I want to say Malachi Black, as someone that was there, I saw the little details and I appreciated him. That shit was dope, and that's just the entrance of this fucking match.
Fuck. Yeah, so I've only seen it on video. Entrances were sick. I wish I got to see the House of Black entrance live. I even told when that match was announced as next, I was like, listen, we can get out of line and go back now. I'm okay. Pac, Phoenix, and Penta are like my wife's favorites. She likes Malachi and Buddy too, but like she was so bummed she missed Phoenix and Penta and Pac. I told her, let's turn around and let's just go. And she's like, no, we've already been waiting like 10 minutes. Let's stay. And we missed it. We missed the entire. We saw I think the ending of the match.
Dude.
I watched it on TV at the arena.
Okay.
But yeah, dude, that match was awesome. Dude, I wish I got to see it live.
I gotta say, like, first of all, they kept me glued, like, the whole time. Like, I was on the edge of my seat for this whole fucking match. I popped for every fucking near fall. I went crazy for every fucking hot tag. And let me tell you, that Brody spot where it looked like he broke his fucking neck, man. That shit, that's the one spot I want to go back and see on TV.
I went back and watched it. Does not look bad up close.
Okay, because from where we were sitting, my wife instantly was like, oh my God, is he dead? And I was like, no, it looked like he landed on his shoulders on the apron.
Yeah.
From where I was standing, it was like it looked like he fell, but he did a 3/4 roll in midair, caught himself, and just basically rolled off of the ring and like landed on the ground quasi safely. I mean, landing shoulder first on the apron is probably not a lot of fun, especially
I'm sure it still sucked.
But
yeah.
It looked worse than it probably was, which is the magic of wrestling. I think that just added to the match.
I think because the way he did the dive over the top, when he hit the apron, he was still rotating forward. So had he already completed his rotation and was just in a drop, he probably would have been out for the rest of the match and injured.
Or if he didn't
but the fact that
at all.
Right, but the fact that he was still
rotating on his head.
Yes, the fact that he was still rotating though when he hit the apron is probably what saved him. But because like I said, if he was done rotating and it was just a fall at that point, yeah, that would have sucked.
Well, it
Bad.
looked like he mistimed on the post before the jump. When he went to do the plancha,
Yes.
it looked like he hesitated a half second, and so when he jumped, he didn't get a full rotation. But I think that's definitely a fucking plus on like how goddamn agile he is, because he completed the 3/4 roll in midair while realizing he fucked up, and a lot of people can't do that.
I've seen him wrestle before. He's hit that dive flawlessly before. So yeah, I know he can. It was just like you said. I think it was a miss on that initial like as you're running, you go to bring your feet together to jump.
But
I think he was maybe a little too far back and kind of did the post a little bit further away than he should have. Maybe he just didn't get enough oomph off the jump that he needed.
But it makes it more impressive to me that he could save it that like
dude, right?
Because it looked bad, but it looked like he didn't die, so it looked worse than it was, and it just, man, it was a really cool fucking spot. I don't think it was intentional, but now that nobody is hurt, I gotta say, man, Brody King, he's a fucking beast. To be able to move his core like that in midair, as big as he fucking is, okay? The guy doesn't have a six-pack. He's moving some meat on that gut, right? And so for him to be able to move that quickly in midair to readjust and save himself, very fucking impressive athleticism.
Oh, yeah.
Very.
He's the man. So finish happened with, I like the finish. I like how Malachi knocked out Penta and Phoenix, and then it was just him and Pac. Lights go out, lights come on while Pac's about to hit the finish. And Julia Hart missed Pac. Pin, hits Malachi, hits a spin kick, 1, 2, 3. What do you think about that?
I like
her
the
finally
finish.
Joining the house.
So there were some mark-ass motherfuckers sitting next to us, right? They were like
yes.
They were like straight up, like, dude was like legit mad when his favorite wrestler lost. Like, I was like, damn, I forgot that there were fans like this still, because I only talk about wrestling with you, So I forgot that there were fans that like it, it's still real to me. It really is. Still real to them. So a lot of like what I was hearing from the marks in the audience was that they were satisfied with Julia's turn, but that it took too long. They were like, finally.
It did.
It wasn't like, oh my God, Julia turned. It was like, oh my God, finally. Like a breath of relief.
Dude, how long has that thing been teased for? And hey, maybe it was supposed to happen in February when they were supposed to have this 6-man, but Phoenix got hurt. Remember when he broke his arm or bent his elbow backwards?
They didn't want to waste the payoff to continue the story with Redbeard, who was just a substitution.
Right. So maybe that's why they didn't do the match, or didn't do the turn, I should say, with Julia. Maybe they were waiting for this match to do the turn. I honestly thought they should have done it when House of Black faced Varsity Blondes, to be quite honest. That's what everyone expected it. And hey, maybe that's why they didn't, because it was expected. I wasn't expecting it here. I thought it was over and done with after that Varsity Blondes match. I thought she was done, not going to do the turn.
I see this feud as they're trying to ramp up the intensity, right? So at the start, these guys, the 6 guys, they don't like each other. And then Ray Phoenix gets hurt. And so Penta has to become Dark Penta, and they call in Redbeard for a substitution, and then they get the win. Or no, they actually lost that match, right?
I think they lost.
Yeah, they lost that match, but it was because they didn't have the power of Ray Phoenix, right? And so now, right, because that's the Death Triangle, the brothers, they're stronger as brothers, right? And,
yes.
So now they have Ray Phoenix, and they're at full power. Penta is now Penta Oscuro, and Pac has his sight back, and now, no, there are no disadvantages, and we can finally face them, and I think that's why they saved Julia Hart for that. Because if they had Julia Hart going into it, then what's going to be the ace in House of Black?
Sure.
Sleeve.
Oh no, I get it.
Now we got to come up with another thing. And
I get it. I do agree with what you've heard from people about it took too long.
Yeah,
I mean, they've been teasing this for like 6 months, it feels like.
But even still, I was satisfied with everything of the match, and from what I was hearing, nobody was mad about the Julia turn.
Sure.
I loved it. I think Julia needs to be with the House of Black, because putting her with another green-ish team like the Varsity Blondes just kind of really exposed how green the 3 of them were.
Mm-hmm.
And I think her with House of Black will just make her amazing. She's got plenty of talent and potential, and being with veterans like Malachi and Brody and Buddy, yeah, dude, she's going to do excellent. And plus, that means we're going to get more. We're going to get a rematch. And so I'm hyped for that, with a stipulation probably.
Probably.
So, yeah, I love where this is going.
I'm excited too. Yeah, I have no problem seeing Death Triangle and House of Black continue. I really enjoy their matches. Next one. Finals of the Men's Owen Hart Foundation Tournament. Adam Cole defeats Samoa Joe in 12 minutes and 30 seconds. I thought this match was great between the two of them. God, dude, Samoa Joe. I even remember looking at my wife and going, they fired this man twice. Like, he's this far into his career, still having these great matches. And I know his opponent was Adam Cole, who's no slouch. But dude, that was a great match. The right person won the match, though.
I gotta say, this was my favorite Adam Cole match. Now, it was been brought up over the time that, like, this is the first time these two have ever actually worked together, and so that novelty actually made the match really, really cool for me. It was like, wow, I never really thought about it. They were always just barely, like, Samoa
They
Joe
missed each other every time.
Honor, right? So I was like, that's kind of cool. This is a dream match that we didn't, like, think of. And I have to say that this, like, I'm not a huge Adam Cole's work fan. I love the character. Like, I love Adam Cole as a performer. His matches, though, just, like, they're hit or miss for me. Like, not every match is like War Games at NXT,
Right.
Like, his match with Hangman, it didn't really, like, set my heart on fire.
Oh, wow. But I really liked it.
I will say this with Samoa Joe was my favorite Adam Cole match. Nice. It really highlighted what a, like, cowardly piece of shit Adam Cole is. And Samoa Joe is such a perfect, he's such a perfect character to play against, because Samoa Joe feels like a legit, like, he feels like Brock Lesnar, Like,
yes.
Samoa Joe could fuck you up, dude. Like, even if wrestling isn't real, like, I would not want to fight Samoa Joe in real life. So he was such a good foil to Adam Cole in that match. And the fact that Adam Cole had to pull off some bullshit to win and then land the boom. And it was I love the finish and how he kind of smoothly snuck the boom in off of, like, an Irish whip spot. I forget exactly, but it was like a counter into an Irish whip into a boom.
He countered something and then just hit like 3 super kicks on Joe and then hit the boom.
Yeah, and I remember really liking the finish, because I remember at the event, it felt like Samoa Joe was still strong. Like, it felt like Adam Cole threw everything he had at Samoa Joe, and he still had to cheat at the end and got the W. And this kind of brings me up, I mean, not really leaping forward into the other match, but the match after that was the other Owen Hart matchup. And so we can kind of move into that sort of right now. Ruby Soho and Britt Baker. This was the match I actually walked out into the stands. I think I went to go buy some merch for this match.
Right.
Because,
like, you missed the next one too.
I wanted to see this match, but I knew that if I didn't get to the merch stand now, they were going to be sold out of everything, and I'd probably miss, like, the main event or something. So I had to go there.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's a match. This is a match I'm looking forward to, because I heard Ruby put on an amazing performance, like star making.
I thought this was one of Ruby's better matches in AEW. The match itself was great. Britt knows her shit, knows how she needs to be, and she knows exactly who she is as a character. The match with Ruby was awesome. I loved that Rancid played out Ruby. You missed that. You were gone. You had left after the Joe and Cole match.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you missed Rancid playing Ruby out, which was really awesome. The crowd was so hyped for it. People were thinking that she was coming out first because there was a guitarist getting ready, but it was Britt, and it was Jericho's guitarist from Fozzy played Britt to the ring. But then the full-on stage opened up, and they drug out this little smaller stage, and you saw all the instruments, and everyone was like, "Oh shit, it's Rancid!" And we got Rancid singing Ruby Soho. That was cool. Like the match was awesome. God, I like Britt. I have no problem with her winning it. I think you even said it best because you were there for the end, I believe. Um, I think you even said it where you're just like, Britt. Oh shit! What was it?
Here's what I said.
Ruby needed to win more, in my opinion. Britt needed to look strong. That's what it was. You said Britt needed to look strong because she doesn't have the belt, but Ruby probably needed that win more than Britt. That's exactly what it was.
And see, after thinking about it afterwards and seeing a lot of initial impressions, people were saying that Britt shouldn't have won. Ruby should have won. And at first, I thought about it. But I've actually changed my mind, and I think that Britt should have won it. And I'm actually glad that Britt won it. And let me explain why. This is not a match that was part of the greater story of AEW. Yeah, it's part of the canon, but it's not an AEW match. This match was to honor Owen Hart. And if there is any female on that roster who does the Owen Hart perfectly, and especially how that match ended, and that was why I kind of leapfrogged from the Adam Cole match. Those matches encapsulated Owen Hart's career. As a wrestler, if I was paying homage to what Owen Hart did, those matches, the way they played out with the heels cheating to win, but still using finesse. Like, they weren't shit heels that couldn't win without skill. They had skill. That was Owen Hart's thing, was he was just as skilled technically as Bret Hart, but he could fly too, but he got frustrated and he would cheat and take the shortcut when he got frustrated. Not that he couldn't win without cheating. And so I felt like as acts to pay homage to Owen Hart, because that's what this tournament was about, nobody exemplified Owen Hart on that roster of women better than Britt Baker. You could make the argument for men. You could throw Max Caster up there and had him win, and I'd be like, yeah, you know what? Max Caster would be a good tribute to Owen Hart. But as far as heels, nobody is doing the kind of heel work that is close to what Owen Hart did besides Britt Baker.
I would agree with that statement, and I'm cool that she won. I'm fine with the winners of the tournament. I just felt, I think this was Ruby's second or maybe even third time facing Britt. I don't know, man. I just felt she needed the bigger win. But I'm still cool with it. I'm still cool with it, though. All right, next one was your favorite. Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, and Paige Van Zant defeating Frankie Kazarian, Sammy Guevara, and Ty Conti in 12 minutes and 30 seconds. I think both of us stepped out after the Owen Hart matches when we saw this was coming up next. I think we both stepped out to get food or merch or something like that.
Yeah, because I came back in the middle of the Britt Baker match and I saw the finish. I just didn't see all of it. And then they did the whole Owen Hart ceremony. And then when that ended, I had already got my merch.
Yeah,
it was the Sammy Guevara match, and I was like, well, that's a good time for a cigarette because fuck Sammy Guevara. I'm not watching that shit. I don't have an opinion.
So I watched most of this match because I think I only ran up and got a bite to eat and I was back in my seat. I think like halfway through. The one thing I will say is I liked Paige Van Zant. I think she's got a good future. She seems to have the entertainment side of it down. Got to tighten up on a lot. Like you could tell there was a moment where she took down Ty and was kind of raining down some forearms, and you could tell they were all pulled. And that's where I'm just like, she's. It's tough when you're taught how to hit really hard and then get told, do that same thing, but don't hurt them. So it's you see that with anyone who's come from that mixed martial arts world without any previous pro wrestling training. The hits are always kind of phony. And so she was a little bit that way, but I think she's got a good future. Training with Gangrel, I think, is great for her. I like Sammy. I don't like him and Ty. I really hope they go more heelish than babyface-ish like they've done lately. But with Paige, Sky, and Paige Van Zant winning, Frankie and Sammy don't get a chance at the TNT title until Sky loses it. So I'm good with it. So that feud is done.
Yeah,
but next, moving along.
I will say O'Reilly. This. Hold on. I will say this.
Yeah.
I was hesitant to walk out because I love Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, I want to watch this match and show some support for Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. But what got me was I was like, nah, you know what? Fuck this shit. They're trying to tell me that Sammy Guevara's pussy ass is a fucking babyface in this match. So that means I gotta boo Scorpio Sky? Nah, it's Smokey time. Next.
You know what, though? I think they're finally doing that turn. I think they just needed to get past this feud first. So I think they're finally finishing that up because I think Frankie and Sammy had a bit of a misunderstanding thing. But either way. All right. Next match. Kyle O'Reilly defeating Darby Allin in 9 minutes and 50 seconds. Dude, Kyle O'Reilly is one of the best wrestlers on the planet. I still say I prefer Red
motherfucker.
No. Red Dragon I prefer than Kyle O'Reilly in singles.
Dude,
but that's me
saying for the longest time, because I was vibing off Kyle O'Reilly's single run in NXT. I was like, dude, he's got some juice, man. He's got some legs. He can go. Give him a chance. And you were like, I don't know, man. I like him better in Red Dragon. I was like, no,
I do.
Man.
I still do.
But dude, you can't tell me that he didn't sell you on his singles work with this.
I never doubted his singles work. I just prefer Red Dragon. I love them as a team. That I would rather see them as a team than either one of them singles.
I can give you that.
And I still feel that way. I still feel that way.
It's to me, Red Dragon is kind of like the Young Bucks. I don't mind them doing singles programs here and there.
Exactly.
But like I don't want to see either of the Young Bucks like as singles wrestlers. I love seeing them as a team. And Red Dragon, dude, they're basically a modern day Eliminators who are in better shape. Like,
I'm going to be honest with you. I liked Kyle and Darby. I thought it was one of the best matches of the night. But what I would have rather have seen is Red Dragon versus Darby and a partner.
Yeah, but
why wasn't Bobby involved except to interfere in the Cole and Samoa Joe match? Yeah. I would have rather have had an actual Red Dragon match. Shit, Red Dragon versus FTR for the Ring of Honor tag team titles. I don't give a shit. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, I think it was less of a match that they needed to get Red Dragon on there, more of they needed to find a way to sneak Darby on there.
No, what it was is Game 7 of, I think, the Eastern Conference Finals for NBA was happening on Sunday night. And Tony went on record saying the main event will not go on until that game is over. So that's why on Friday they added this match. They added recently the American Top Team versus Frankie, Sammy, and Ty. What else got added last minute? Jade and Anna Jay got added last minute. And it was just to extend.
Well, I mean, as far as a filler match, just a random exhibition match, I was satisfied with it. I loved it, dude. Filler. I mean, I'm never going to be disappointed with more Darby Allin or Kyle O'Reilly. I don't need a story, and I think that's one of the criticisms AEW gets from like WWE fans that are like, oh, well, they just throw matches. Like, okay, Moxley versus Dante Martin is a good match, but there's no story, there's no reason. And I'm like, dude, I don't need a story. Like, there's a story between Darby and Kyle O'Reilly, but I don't need like a whole feud. Like, I just want to watch those two go.
Go back and watch some of those old WWF pay-per-views. You had random-ass matches on WrestleMania 7 that had nothing to... Demolition versus Tenryu and Katao. There wasn't a feud. It was just the fucking match, and then those two were gone.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
You can have throwaway matches on pay-per-view. You can have throwaway matches on a Dynamite. Just because it doesn't have a story doesn't mean it can't lead to a story. What was one of the things that they were pushing? Oh, shoot. It might have been Dante, where he had lost some matches. I think he lost a match against Hangman or something back before Hangman won the belt, but then got a title match, and they were talking about it. No, it wasn't that. It was Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta had a one-on-one match with Moxley where Moxley dropped him in like 2 minutes. And then when he did that last match where he got brought into the Blackpool Combat Club, they referenced it a ton. That first match meant nothing. But a few months later, they bring it back. And look, now they're referencing it. Now they've got something to talk about. They're not throwaway matches. They're for future use.
And that's what I love. And again, even if it was a throwaway match, like, I'm not
Great
going to
match.
complain that I got
Nope.
Darby
Nope.
Allin versus Kyle O'Reilly on a pay-per-view.
No,
Like,
I
dude,
won't.
that's the kind of shit that I try to set up with the WWE fucking universe games, right? Like, fuck, dude, I got to have Kyle O'Reilly versus Darby Allin. Like, that's one of those random matches that gets me excited as a wrestling fan. I loved it.
Yeah. It was a great match. Next one. AEW Women's World Championship. Thunder Rosa successfully retaining against Serena Deeb in 16 minutes and 55 seconds. What did you think about this one?
You know what? It wasn't the best performance I've seen out of Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb.
Nope.
But I've got to say that as a women's title match, it delivered on the drama and it was a fun romp. Serena
I thought it was
Deeb
a fun
is
match.
always excellent, dude. Serena Deeb
Yes.
is so good in the ring. I think the only problem I have with this program, not with the match, is just Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb's promos were just so
Not great.
bad. They were
Yeah,
like
they're not
really
great.
bad, and Thunder Rosa can deliver really good promos. And I don't think it's the language issue because she's done good promos in English. Like she's done some
You know
damn
what,
good
though?
promos.
I think a lot of those good ones are videoed, are taped. You know, it's promo packages and things, which I'm good with. I am totally fine if you can't cut a live promo, but you can give me killer video. You can give me killer promo packages for your matches. I'm all good with that. I'm all good if it's just a pre-taped promo. I'm good with that if it'll make it better.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to make them better. You know, yes, going out there and kind of sucking it sucks, and it will. And the next time you'll do better. But if you know that you're going to have that, you know what was the thing that Paul Heyman always said? Hide the negatives, accentuate the positives. Thunder Rosa can cut a great promo, but it's not great when she does it in the live audience
Yeah.
spot.
And I
So
think
let's
that's
do
what
it
kinda-
the other way.
Yeah, and that's what kind of tainted me on the program. The match itself, though, I don't know,
liked it.
man. It like the match to me was good, but I felt like the promos were so bad that a lot of the heightened drama was gone. And I
Yes,
wasn't really
I feel the
watching
same.
it for the story. I was just kind of judging the work rate. And
I still thought it was a banger of a match,
Oh, I
despite
thought
the
it was
story
great.
kind of pulling me out of it. I thought the match was absolutely great.
oh yeah,
Those two
absolutely.
are two top women in the world.
All
And come on,
time,
no
like-
no surprise, no surprise that these two are going to have a fun match.
I think all time, like as far as like
Sure.
all time, Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa have probably done more for women's wrestling in the past 10 years than than basically Trish and Lita in the Attitude Era. Like Thunder
Potentially,
Rosa
for sure.
and Serena Deeb are like gems in women's wrestling right now. So them two
Mm-hmm.
together is always going to work for me.
Always. Yeah, it was the same thing when they were doing that best of 5 with Sheeta and Deeb. I was telling my wife was kind of like 5 matches. I'm like, dude, they could do 10 for all I care. Every
Right?
match slaps.
Right?
Give it to me more.
Just let these girls work, right? I don't need
Yeah.
a story, but this match had a good story, and it was tainted by bad promos.
I can't wait for Deeb to take the title. I can't wait.
Yeah, I can.
All right.
All right, moving
Next
on.
match is my favorite match of the night. It was chaotic as fuck. My favorite match, Anarchy in the Arena, the Jericho Appreciation Society. Jericho, Daniel Garcia, Jake Hager, Angelo Parker, and Matt Menard defeating Blackpool Combat Club of Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley, then Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz in 22 minutes and 45 seconds. Anarchy in the motherfucking arena. This match fucking had me hyped. Dude, the whole audience was on their feet. Bell to bell.
Yeah, you couldn't sit during this one. We were actually
No fucking way. It was all over the place. I'll say this. Being there live, I saw less of Eddie Kingston because he was fighting Menard up in the fucking concession area. We hardly saw Eddie Kingston the entire time. It was chaotic. It was cool that, you know, with PMP and Hager kind of stayed in the ring at first. You had Danielson and Angelo Parker were just under hard cam brawling it out. You had Jericho and Mox on the far side of the arena. So you got to see those, and it worked pretty good. And Garcia was near the ring too, because he got into it with Ortiz for a minute. But dude, it was chaotic as fuck. there was just some jackass with a sign in front of us that made it hard for us to see some things.
To mention one thing, we were seated right where Moxley came in through the crowd. So we were about like maybe 5 chairs away from Moxley, and that crowd, as soon as Wild Thing hit, dog,
oh my God,
they swarmed. We were like 3 feet from Moxley, and you could not see him. We did not.
Nope.
I was like, never have I been so close to a man I could not see. Like people swarmed him back.
Oh, dude,
that match, I loved it. First of all, that was the match I came for. That was my main event because I am a lifelong Jerichoholic. Like,
yes,
I've said this millions of times. Like, Jericho is one of my all-time favorites. So I wanted to see. I screamed my lungs out for Judas. My favorite AEW wrestler is Eddie Kingston. So I was like, people are like, who do you think's going to win? I was like, I don't fucking care, dude. I want them to fucking beat the shit out of each other for an hour and a half. This is going to be excellent. I need this. And so I loved the match. And one thing I will point out is this match allowed me to fulfill one of my biggest lifelong dreams. I started an arena-wide holy shit chant. And I was like, dude, I totally started. So when they did the table spot, PMP and Hager did that table spot in the ring, and I just jumped up, and I thought that looks, because PMP is one of my favorite tag teams. So when I saw that, I was like, fuck yeah, that's the PMP I'm here for, baby. And I was like, holy shit. And I just started yelling it as loud as I could, and then the whole arena joined me. And I was like, dog, I just started a natural holy shit chant in real life. This is the coolest fucking thing ever.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
That match delivered everything. Like, the PMP ladder spot was so cool. From where we were sitting, we were opposite the hard cam. So for the most part, I was watching Menard and Danielson brawling by the hard cam. We were getting to watch the fight that people don't get to watch on TV. Because, like, if you were watching it, dude, you had no idea where Bryan Danielson and Menard were and what they were doing the whole time. And let me tell you, that brawl was fucking sick. I'm sure there's a bunch of spots. There's a bunch of spots y'all didn't see on TV. Because, like, there were some spots they did right. There were a couple of bumps they did right under the hard camera that I'm like, yo, the camera did not catch that.
Because from where we were sitting, we could even see the live feed up on the Jumbotron. And, yeah, they were missing a whole bunch of Danielson, and I think it was Angelo Parker. I think Menard was with Kingston.
Menard was with Kingston. Yeah, it was Parker.
But yeah, dude, yeah, that brawl right there was so much fun. So much fun. Okay, one thing I want to talk about. So Wild Thing played, and then when it went to when it repeated and it came on again, the fucking pop that it repeating got was so good.
So you watched
so
this
good.
On
I'm getting
TV.
Goosebumps thinking about that pop.
You watched this on TV. Is that in the actual video? Did they keep the music?
Yes. You hear the song end, and then you hear it kick off again, and you hear the place immediately explode.
Yeah, so being there for that, okay, we got to talk about that. If you weren't there and you didn't see that, or if you watched it on TV, let me tell you, when that arena lost its shit when the song restarted, you have no idea how crazy people got. Like, people were literally jumping up in the air, just fucking mosh pitting. It got, like, dude, the arena turned into a mosh pit when the song restarted, and I think it was accidental, and when they saw the
No, it wasn't accidental. You got to watch the match, and I really want to spoil what happens for you. But they told a story. The plan was the whole New Jack. They were gonna New Jack it. That was the design. I'm gonna spoil it for you. Fuck it, I don't care. Jericho destroyed part of the audio section, and when he hit it and the song went off, he was just like, "None for you, not for you. You do it." Dude, it was on purpose.
Dude, that is so dope. Dude.
My wife, because when we were watching it last night, and I said that, my wife's like, "You didn't know he did that?" And I said, "No." She goes, "I watched it on the Jumbotron."
I didn't see any of that. I was
watching the Jumbotron at all times. I was watching around the arena.
Dude,
when I go to live shows, I try to watch in ring. I hate catching myself watching a match on the Jumbotron. I hate it.
Yeah.
So I try and focus to watch the match in the ring or wherever the action's going on. So I was focusing on the 3 or 4 areas around the arena where they were fighting. So I wouldn't see it. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I saw this Sunday." And I was like, "Why didn't you tell me?"
Dude, I didn't see that because right about there was when the edibles were really hitting me at their peak. So I was flying high, and Bryan Danielson and Parker were doing so much cool shit by the hard
It was so
cam.
awesome.
And so my thing was I wanted to watch as much as that as possible because I knew that wouldn't be on TV. So when I
Exactly.
go back and watch it, I can see the stuff that I missed, but I'll never be able to go back and watch that brawl between Parker and Danielson.
Exactly.
You had to be
exactly.
there, and they did so. They worked out a whole fucking match.
Dude, and they were
Between
just
the
on
two-
the stairs and the chairs.
Because
It
they
was
were there
awesome.
the whole time, but like they worked out a whole match and they set up spots, and it was like that shit was cool. And I was kind of glued to that because
Yeah.
Eddie Kingston and Eddie Kingston was over by the concessions, and Chris Jericho was on the opposite end of the arena on the floor, so we couldn't see from where I was. I couldn't see any of the Chris
we
Jericho stuff. We saw some
No.
of the PMP stuff when they got on the ladder and when they did it in the
Yeah.
ring, but for the most part, what I was seeing mostly was Danielson and Parker, and that match, fuck, dude. That match is one of those matches that sells real wrestling in real life. Like, you have to be there. If you be watching that match on TV does not even touch how dope that shit was to be and to see.
I
live.
saw people saying that that even on Sunday they went back and rewatched just that match because so much happened and they loved it. Like I told you before the show started that the original Stadium Stampede is something that my wife and I still go back and watch. We thought it was just so perfectly done. That to have this match, this was the perfect replacement for Stadium Stampede. Perfect. I love, like I said, this was my match of the night.
You know what? And I love before the show they replayed Eddie Kingston's like promo where he was like Anarchy Arena. I don't even know the rules of this shit, right? And like that's the beauty of this match because like I don't think anybody knew the rules to this shit, but goddamn, it was fucking fun.
It was fun. And what did you? Okay, the finish was Jericho had I think the walls on while Hager had one of the ring ropes around Danielson's neck, and they were doing a double, and it was a technical submission, so he felt
never
like passed
tapped.
out.
Never tapped.
Never tapped.
I love
what
it.
do you think about the JAS? Nice. Yeah, me too.
I love it.
I'm even cool that Brian took the fall. I think it's great.
Because
My wife was like, "Well, why would you do that? Why not give Eddie?" I'm like, "Because look what happened. Eddie took the Judas effect like 2 minutes before the end of the match and laid there on the side of the ring, in the ring, but right on the apron. He laid there the last few minutes of the match and didn't fucking move.
Yeah,
I was like, he
sold
was
that
out. And then when he got up, he was pissed that he lost. I was like, now he has a reason to blame Danielson. We're going to get Danielson and Kingston again.
Yeah.
He goes, now he's still going to go back after Chris Jericho because Danielson's the one that stopped Eddie from lighting Chris on fucking fire. He
Right?
came out with a motherfucking gas can and was going to light that motherfucker on fire.
Dude, that match, like
That was fucking cool.
those 10 wrestlers are AEW for me right now. Like that was the match
Yes!
I was most excited for. That was the match that delivered. Now I say the House of Black match on a technical level was match of the night. But as far as fun factor, dude, you can't touch that shit. And
You can't.
the fact that it set up so many more story threads and the fact that there's so much more you can do with it, like that match started perfectly. It was paced so amazingly for what it was. It was a garbage match. It was throw shit around. Let's do a table spot, barbed wire, fire, who cares? Garbage match. It's, like it reminded me of, like you said, a New Jack match. That match paid perfect homage to New Jack. Rest in peace, my man.
Dude, that shit was great. I next year for Double or Nothing, I want to see another Anarchy in the Arena. I'm all in on that. All in.
Absolutely.
I love. While WWE names all their shows after it, and Hell in a Cell and Money in the Bank and all that, I love where certain match shows have specific matches. And I think Double or Nothing, the Stadium Stampede was a great addition. And going back to fans, you really can't duplicate that unless you stay at Daly's place.
Yeah.
So you can't really duplicate it, but you can evolve it. And this was the perfect evolution. Fuck yeah, dude. I want to go back and watch that match again right now.
Right?
All
Exactly.
right. Next match. Tag team titles on the line. Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus successfully defended, defeating Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, and Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks in 17 minutes and 15 seconds.
I loved
Thoughts?
this. I love
Yeah.
this as a cool down and warm up match. I think a lot of credit
Yes.
needs to be given to this Drew because they came out right and they started really slow and like honestly following that Anarchy in the Arena match, like
You
you
needed to.
something to slow it down. So that match started really slow and then when it picked up, oh my god, did it pick up? And it's funny because during the match, I remember telling you, I was like, dude, I don't know. I think there's something up with Keith Lee. He's not the same, man. He's not.
Yeah.
And, I was like, I'm glad they put him in a tag with Strickland. Strickland can work and do a lot more physical stuff, and Keith Lee can kind of take it easy because I feel like he's lost a step since he got sick. And literally, as I finished that sentence, he did a fucking plancha. And I was like,
that fucking flip dive.
That entire soliloquy I just made. Remove that from the blockchain, my friend. Remove it.
Stricken this from the
entirely.
record.
Because Keith Lee just did a goddamn plancha pescado to the outside, and oh my god, I'm here for it.
Dude, I was a little surprised that Jurassic Express kept the belts. I was full on expecting, and I was hoping. I wanted Hobbs and Starks. I wanted them to win the titles. I'm not upset by the finish. I like it's a great fucking match. Jurassic Express, they talk about the pillars. Come on, they're definitely the pillars. I wouldn't just put Jungle Boy as a pillar. Jurassic Express, period.
Yeah.
But I did say this to the wife. I would rather have Marco Stunt than Christian Cage in the corner. But that's me. I like Marco. I think it's a good. I think the Christian thing is definitely helpful. I'm ready for the goddamn turn. They've been fucking teasing that motherfucker for so long. And I think when they turn, that's when they're going to finally drop the belts.
I think that's why they don't call him Jurassic Express anymore. They just call him
Marco
Luchasaurus.
Stunt?
No, they call him Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy
Right.
and Christian because Jurassic Express was with Marco Stunt.
So one of the things that their tag team name when they first got together on the Indies was Aboya and his dinosaur. It doesn't really fit, but
really.
I think it's a cool name. I like Jurassic Express a lot better.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I was hoping for Team Taz to come back with this one. Man, I fucking love Ricky Starks. That dude's one of my favorites in AEW. He's the fucking man.
The thing is, I'm glad that they didn't take the titles because I like Starks and Hobbs as singles, and I didn't want them to do a long, drawn-out tag run. I like them tagging on and off for feuds as it's necessary, but I like them better as singles. So I wasn't as much as I want to see Starks and Hobbs pushed. I felt like as a tag team, I'm okay with them not getting the belts.
And I feel the same way. I prefer them as singles, but I just felt like Team Taz needed something.
Team Taz
I don't
does
feel
need
like
something.
Team Taz is like they do that whole thing. We build assassins, and motherfuck, they do build assassins. Team Taz is fucking great, but they don't win the big ones
because the FTW belt doesn't. It counts now.
It's not official.
No,
it's not official though. It's not part of their official championships. Yes, he defends it and whatnot.
Recognize it on the website. If you go to the AEW website, they recognize the FTW belt now.
See, I haven't been on there in a minute, but last I saw was he wasn't listed with the rest of the champions, but on his profile it says FTW champion.
So it shows.
So yeah, under
champions,
he is not there.
Oh, they might have taken him.
But if you go down to his Ricky Starks picture, it says FTW champion.
Well, I was looking on the rankings. On the rankings, it showed him as the FTW champion.
Oh, gotcha. But yeah. I just want Team Taz to get a big win. They haven't had one, and I think it's time. Dude, during that match, one thing that stood out for me is that spear from Ricky to Jungle Boy, and it came out of nowhere, man. That thing was beautiful. I wanted Ricky to win that motherfucker.
My favorite spot was actually the rope walk spot. I love how Ricky poses and jives as he's walking the ropes. And I love how it was countered because it was a reference to the Dynamite match. He landed it on Jungle Boy, and then at the pay-per-view, Jungle Boy countered it. And so to me, that was my favorite spot of the match because it called back to the last time they fought, and it was a cool spot anyways. And so, and it's funny because when you think about a match like that with like Swerve Strickland doing all kinds of crazy Swerve Strickland shit, Keith Lee doing planchas, all those big high spots, and my favorite spot was the goofy rope walk spot. But that's how, I feel like that's how amazing this match was, that it had so much, and it did so much, and it fulfilled so many necessities on the card.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I loved it. That match was definitely, and I love the finish. The Jurassic Express's finish, it is always amazing. It looks badass.
And it came out of nowhere too. The way that whole sequence going into that, woo!
And the way Swerve sold it, oh man. Swerve is so goddamn smooth. That match was a fucking masterclass. That match was probably, as far as like technicals go, that was probably the most technically executed, perfectly executed match. There was hardly any botching. Everything was so.
I couldn't remember a single botch.
Yeah, everything was so smooth. Those guys, man, hats off to all 6 men in that match.
Absolutely. All right, here it is. Main event. It's time. AEW World Championship. CM Punk winning the AEW title by pinning Hangman Adam Page in 25 minutes and 40 seconds. Called it. I know you guys weren't big Punk fans. I know Punk isn't as over in your household. And to be honest, it ain't over in my household. I'm the Punk fan over here. My wife likes him, but not as much as me.
I don't hate Punk. I just don't care for him. Like, I don't love him.
I get it.
People with Punk, like, there's no, like, middle ground. Like, I like Punk about as much as I like, I don't know, fucking Evil Uno. You know, like, he's not my favorite wrestler, but I like Punk. It's just, with Punk, there are no middle, there are very few people like me, right? They either fucking bleed Punk or they fucking hate Punk. And my wife
I'm not a bleed Punk, but I like Punk.
No, you love Punk. I like Punk. And then there are people that like him.
Love is a harsh word to use, I think.
There are people
I very much enjoy a lot.
Okay.
But here's the thing. My like of CM Punk isn't why I picked him to win. My pick for him to win was because I feel like if it's not now, then when? What are we going to do? What have we? What's next for Hangman if he beats Punk? You know.
Well, what's next for Punk if he loses to Hangman? Because the day he showed up,
there you go too.
The day he showed up, it was like, dude, he's getting that belt. So like, how long are we gonna delay it? It was a done deal when he showed up. Okay, when Danielson
he was gonna win the title no matter what. Yeah,
we knew that they brought Punk in to be a champ because Punk's name value is gonna add a lot of prestige to that belt. And a lot of people will come back knowing that come back to wrestling knowing that not just that Punk is back, but that Punk is the champ. You know, they're getting the Punk that they never got in WWE. So I knew Punk was going in. I don't have a problem with Punk. I just don't love him. I think he's all right. His matches are good. This match was probably my favorite Punk match since he's come back.
I would agree.
And that's including all the botches. The only complaint
MJF's still the one at Revolution with Max, the dog collar is my favorite Punk, but this is up there, yeah.
Well, I would have said Eddie Kingston would have been my favorite match, but I know there's going to be an Eddie Kingston Punk too, so I'm saving that. I'm saving it for Eddie Kingston Punk too, but as of right now, this match, I liked it just because they fucked up a lot of spots, but the way they planned out the match told a lot of really cool story with them trying to hit each other with their finishers and countering the finishers, and it was more, it made the match feel more personal, and it definitely had that big match, title match feel, and you definitely felt the anxiety of Hangman going in, knowing, like, Hangman's character knew he was going to lose, just as much as we of the fans.
Why he grabbed that belt.
Yeah, and then the Hangman, he ended up losing when he decided not to cheat. So I love that set up a whole lot more depth to the Hangman character. There's more that can go there. Punk fans will get the Punk belt run that they're hoping for. And that's cool. Like, Punk fans, they get their champion, and I'm happy for them. We get some more, evolution of Hangman. I just think as a whole, the matchup outside of the obvious botching was well put together. But yeah, Punk, again, like, he's not the most athletic guy, so him fucking up what he fucked up didn't surprise me. However, I am going to give him shit for it. Shouldn't have fucked it up.
Well, he hit it 2 weeks ago. Flawless.
Exactly.
That's why. But again, he hadn't just competed in a 30-minute match. I mean, that was probably in the last 5 minutes of the match. So he'd already wrestled 20. I don't think he was hitting that when he hit that on Dynamite. What, he do 10 minutes? 8 minutes?
But he tried it twice. He botched it, and I think that botch was planned, because then it was worked into the spot of Hangman botching the GTS. So I think the first botch of the Lariat was intentional. The second one, my only problem is Hangman selling the clothesline after CM Punk literally fell on his face. He does the flip, he falls on his face, he gets up, he looks at Hangman, and Hangman takes a clothesline, and I'm like, oh my God, why?
They probably should have, he ducks it a second time, but then Punk turns around and does a discus lariat and then call it a day.
And,
it wasn't, because you're right, when you see those things, like a guy whiff a kick and the dude sells it like it's the biggest fucking thing.
Like,
it's
Hangman
really hard.
He waited for Punk to
he
get
stood
up.
there. Yep.
He stood
and
there
then took the close.
And I'm like, dude, in a real fight, right? If I'm fighting a motherfucker who's taking my title and he does a flip and he falls on his ass in a real fight, I'm fucking stepping on his head because you gave me.
Let me ask you this. Okay, Hangman, yes, he's been wrestling a good minute. Punk, shouldn't he have been the one to say, call the audible? He's the vet of the match. So he should have been the one to say, duck, take the discus, or duck something. Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, but again, do you think Punk is going to give up on a spot that makes him look good?
Dude, he already looked like shit, so yeah, I would think.
Yeah.
That's my thought on it. Now, if he had nailed it, yeah, of course, keep going. But he botched it, and botched it twice. After the first one, I probably would have been like, I ain't gonna hit this again. But yeah, man, I love the match. Love the match. Thought it was great. Thought Punk went over. I think we're gonna get the Punk heel turn and get that nice summer of Punk like you talked about, just in a different manner. But I'm gonna tell you this: I've already got my pick for who to take it off. Who's gonna take it off Punk?
Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston.
Gotta be Eddie Kingston.
It's got to be Eddie Kingston. There's
gotta.
nobody fucking else. Eddie is the most over babyface on that fucking roster. After listening to every pop from Sunday, even during Wild Thing, I heard Eddie's pop more than I heard anybody else's.
Yeah, he's got to get that belt. He's got to get it ASAP. They've already set it up. They've already had a feud, and I already talked about it.
I don't even care if it's not until All Out in September. He's got to get the belt.
Exactly. But with that,
that's
it. Looks like we covered all the matches.
That's double or nothing. All right. Last quick reaction. I want to hear from you.
So,
this show as a whole, where would you put it on best wrestling events you've seen live?
This is definitely up there with one of the early house shows that we went to as kids.
Sure.
This is definitely, like, as far as the best show I've gone to as an adult. This show fucking killed it.
Right, dude. These AEW shows are just top to bottom nuts. I love that it's wrestling. You don't get a lot of hype videos. But yeah, man, this show was great. I definitely would give it a double thumbs up.
Absolutely.
Happy with it, top to bottom. Great show. It didn't feel like 4.5 hours.
No, it did not. And you know what, man? I'm telling you, like, AEW's shows just they hit way different than WWE, man. The audience is a little bit more hardcore, a little bit more rabid, and it was so fun to, like, be surrounded by wrestling fans that, like, knew about wrestling outside of AEW. Like, you were walking around, you saw GCW shirts, okay? You saw New Japan fans, and it was like, dude, I'm around my people. You know, like I don't feel like I stand out wearing, you know, a GCW shirt like you would at a
Right.
WWE event. Whereas in
Yeah, I had an
AEW,
ECF&W shirt on. If I took that to like a WrestleMania, WrestleMania is different. But if I took that to like a house show or a Raw or a SmackDown taping, ugh. Yeah,
yeah,
I feel like I'd stand out like a sore thumb.
yeah. So that I loved it. If you've never been to an AEW show, you really need to do it. You really, really need
It
to.
was fun. Awesome, man.
All right. Well, we're going to get out of here. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and follow our social media links in the comments section or in the description section down below. I'm going to see
That
y'all
was fun,
later.
man. Great fucking show. Hope you guys enjoyed the recap. Later.
Later.